Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey, what's up guys? It's me, Brandon Johnson, and we're about to go take a ride in an absolutely awesome 2011 Cobalt 232 Bow Rider. So always remember, before you put your boat in the water, always go underneath the outdrive and put your plug in it. From there, go ahead and back in the water till you see your transom float right off the trailer. Once you climb aboard this beautiful 232 Cobalt, come underneath the aft transom seat. Right down here, we have a battery switch. So we turn it on when we go boating. We turn it off when we're done boating. In order to help make this video not become 2 hours long, I'm going to include a bunch of helpful links in the description down below. So in the screen here that's around me, there'll be a drop down arrow, links that will have a lot of information that will hopefully assist you when you're out there on the water with your friends and family. Videos where I explain how to operate tilt and trim tabs, what to do when your boat won't start, boat financing and insurance. But for now, once we understand that all that's there to add some value, come up here to the helm. 3 things the boat won't start. Click, 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 dead battery. Turn the key over, nothing happens whatsoever. It's most likely in gear. The number 1 reason why people call me after the sale and their boats won't start is the kill switch. Right here, it's just a safety feature. If you got little kids swimming around the boat and you don't want it to be able to be started, you just pull this off and it shuts off the fire to the motor basically. But battery's on, kill switch is on, it's in neutral, turn the key, it fires right up. So to start this video, we're going to kind of go through our features of the helm, kind of some systems, and then we'll get into operation when I drive the boat. Shifting, really easy. Push in the button right here. Goes into forward. It's extremely smooth. Now remember, you have a lot of torque with the duo prop drive. Neutral in the middle. Once again, we're going to push in the button. Also remember, this has the big, massive, low water Cobalt swim platform, so sometimes it will bang around a little bit underneath it. So back into forward. Before we accelerate, always keep in mind that your trim is right here. That brings your outdrive up where your propellers are and your outdrive down. So when you first get into water off the trailer, it's good to have it trimmed up a little until you kind of get out there if you're in shallow water. This boat has a depth finder. Let's run through gauges. So right here's our depth finder, water temperature, air temperature. Yes, it's hotter than heck. Fuel, volts, speedo, tack, engine temp, oil pressure, trim. We're going to learn how to operate tilt and trim, and back to the videos in the description, I have a video that explains how to work that, because this gauge, just like the majority of them, doesn't read. Trim works just fine, but the gauge doesn't. Oh, it does work. Never mind that. Okay, start over to interior lights. Technical difficulties with the camera, it keeps shutting off. So right here we have interior lights. This controls these beautiful LED lights located throughout the cockpit. Docking lights are the headlights up front. Accessory, God knows, sometimes at nighttime it'll turn on something funky. We have a awesome horn right there. All right, right here we have our navigation light. That's the red and green built in up front. The white light, which is in the ski storage on the floor, plugs in the back right there in the corner. Port side, aft, corner. In the middle, off, all the way down, anchor light, that's when you're stopped at night. Accessory, that's a dimmer, I believe. I'm not really sure. Right here, we can plug our phone in. One thing I do love about this model also is it's got a nice little storage compartment here. Those are the things you don't really think about until you're out there using it and you think, where do I put my phone? Where do I put this, that, and the other? Let's look inside the glove box here. Port side helm, we have a stereo, you can plug your phone into it, and a charger over there. I call this the mom box because my wife and our Cobalt that we own likes to take our stuff and put it in there. Watch your head on the speakers, Braden. So this is my son, Braden. Turn that around for a selfie. Say hi, and that's Ty, my middle son. This COVID stuff has made the boating business so busy. I feel bad because I can't help my customers very good because there's so many. So I've got all 3 of my kids working. My 4-year-old was working in a box this morning. You don't care about that. Let's go back to driving it. Right down here we have some resets. right down here, we can change the system. So I want you to see that button right there. So right here, that shows our trim angle, depth finder, fuel that we're using, how much fuel's left, our volts, air temp, water temp, RPM, hours, only 159.7. Before we take off here, let's take a quick look at the motor, see how she's powered. So this bad boy's got the 5.7 GI, 300 horsepower Volvo. It's super clean in the engine compartment. Our batteries are over there, blower's over here. Go ahead and show them. When you're looking at boats, see how the blower hoses aren't all dried up, dry rotted? That's a good sign right there. Always stuff to look at. Our pulleys and manifolds also all look beautiful. Let's shut this. There we go. All right, go back to the helm. Did I say we have tilt steering? Because we do. What'd you do, Braden? So, going back into gear. So for this portion of the video, now that we know what the gauges do, what the buttons and switches do, and we see that everything is working exceptionally good, we're gonna show you the radio. It's old rock. I'm more of a country guy myself, but whatever. If we're gonna be stopped, listen to the radio, turn the key the other way, because if the key is in the run position, so is the hour meter, even though the boat is not actually running. But for this part of the video, I'm gonna drive this boat. So what we're gonna do for the driving portion is I'm gonna run the boat trim down all the way, out drive down, props down. That actually keeps the nose force down. Whenever you test drive a boat, whenever you're buying a boat or something, you wanna do it that way. That puts the hardest load on the engine because you're literally keeping the nose buried in the water. That's when we know if it's gonna hit, miss, spit, sputter, pop, or fall on its face. Once we know we've hit our top speed, trim down, and we know the boat's running good and tight, nice and tight, we're gonna trim up to reach our top speed. Then I'm gonna stop, slow down. We're gonna see how to use this specific boat for water sports, and then we'll find the actual cruise speed. Speaking of water sports, this has the beautiful polar white MTK wakeboard tower with speakers. Always remember, guys, you're gonna see a lot of people going up and down the lake with wakeboard towers, tubing off the tower, but don't do it. It puts thousands of pounds of pressure on the fiberglass and you can crack it. Tubing, use the pylon. That goes in or out. Braden hooked it up a while ago, just to show you. Anything above water, slalom, barefoot, skiing, wakeboarding, kneeboarding, use the tower. It's awesome. All right, give me the camera. Let's go boating. Water.
Best part, time.
Oh yeah, the best part. That's what they're saying here. All right, so we're at a dead stop right here. Put it into gear. Has a beautiful new steering wheel. This thing levels itself. How freaking cool is that? All right, Braden put that on. Custom installed by my family. All right, it's a little rough out here, see the waves, but use the bottom of your V always to cut right through rough water. Just like a knife. Alrighty, alrighty. So right here, look how the boat just really accelerated smooth onto plane. Like I didn't have to push it or do anything. I just slow and steadily applied throttle, and we're just cruising right along, kicking off the sick rooster tail, 25 mile an hour. But that's not what we want to do. We don't want to cruise and relax. We want to drop. It's got some punch, doesn't it? So right there, we're gonna go ahead and run it as hard as we can. Can't see the camera, there we go. 4,800 RPM, 42 miles an hour roughly on the gauge. I'll add GPS. So around 42, trimmed all the way down. The boat's not hitting, missing, spitting, popping. It's running very strong. The biminy's quiet. Ah, these dadgum waves. Making it bad for my video presentation. But still, we're maintaining our speed. Let's trim up. 1, 2. See the wave already went back behind my shoulder. 3, 4, 5. I see him. Now we're running in the middle 40s, about 4,900 RPM. Mid 40s. Keep going. I'm trimming up. I'm trimming up. We're getting a low. Got the wave way back there. So the boat runs exceptionally strong. One thing I definitely want to point out, now that especially know the trim gauge works, always remember, Volvos trim extremely quietly, so you really can't hear them like you can some of them, but if you need a gauge and you're a visual guy, like when I first started selling boats, all the old guys were meeting me. They didn't teach me nothing because I was young and sold a lot of units and they thought I was cocky. It's irrelevant. Anyhow, when you're trimmed down and you're pushing it hard, the wave coming off the side of the boat's going to be way up here because again, you're forcing that nose down. So as you trim up, and you let the ass end come down and it gives the front end of the boat lift, that wave is going to get behind you. So what's the perfect trim angle? Don't overthink it. Just keep the wave come off the side of the boat right in your shoulder or just behind it at about all speeds, and that's comfortable. But for water sports, you know, light cruising, anything that you're essentially doing about, you know, 30 mile an hour or under, really 25 and under, there's no reason to touch trim. Only touch a trim when you're putting it on the trailer when you're going on that slow. So now that we understand that, that's your visual trim gauge, we're gonna do the water sports speed first. That's what I said. Dead stop here. So, got our kids back there on a tuber ski like those folks way back there. We want to go ahead and put it in gear, idle forward, get the slack out of the line. Now, once the slack is out of the line, like right now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna test this. I wish I was a little taller. Go ahead, and I got my pointer finger, my thumb on the throttle, push it to pop them up. The dual prop keeps the nose flat. As soon as we hit 20, I want to go ahead and come back on this one, because that puts us right in that mid 20 range, and right here in that low 20 range, we're putting off a nice wake. Great beginner wake. I see him up there tubing. So right here we could do, you know, tubing, skiing, kneeboarding, slalom. It's extremely comfortable. That nose didn't pop real high up out of the water. So with this dual prop drive and the 350 in this model, it rides real flat. So I immediately just hit it and started to come back. I looked at my speedo, hit 20 and slowly brought it back down. So this is the perfect water sports operation for this model. Now let's find a comfortable cruise speed. Coming back to 0 miles an hour. One thing I feel like I didn't do a great job of in the last video is explaining the comfortable cruise speed thing. So a lot of people ask me, Brandon, what's a comfortable cruise speed? And I always say, well, you know, what speed do you like to cruise at? Every boat's different. Even the same boat, the same motor can have a different comfortable cruise speed because the gauges never read in the same spot, et cetera, et cetera. Water temperature, where the weight's distributed in the boat can make a big difference. So to find a cruise speed that's comfortable, it's really all on the driver, like the captain. What makes you feel comfortable driving it? If you feel comfortable at 50, feel free, go ahead. You know, if you feel comfortable at 5 miles an hour, feel free, go ahead. That's your comfortable cruise speed. But you'll find a spot in the boat with a certain speed and trim angle when the boat just feels like it's really operating smoothly. You'll feel it in the wheel. You'll feel the tension go away in the floor. You can feel it in the shifter. It's like having your truck in 4-wheel drive and running 90 down the interstate. It's not running right. So by finding a speed that's comfortable and then the right trim angle, everything just takes a sigh of relief. So that's how you find the comfortable cruise speed at any boat you're driving. Let's go ahead and find it in this one. Yellow Canary crown line crossed us over us. So again, we'll get on the plane. Now we're just cruising. Time to relax and chill, having fun. It's summertime. I'm fat and sunburned. Braden's putting on weight. Just kidding. I hate him. He just eats double cheeseburgers and still has a six-pack. It's disgusting. Ty's got my genetics. It's gonna be all right. So cruise speed, the boat runs so flat, it's awesome. A boat that runs this flat is going to have a real wide cruise speed range. But right here, you know, we're running almost 30. Boat feels good, feels right and tight. Once we find a speed that I feel confident in, then we'll go ahead and just see if our trim does something. It may do nothing for our cruise speed. But let's go 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. So right there with just 3 clicks, I could feel in the floor the boat just release. Like take a breath of fresh air. So right here at this speed, we're running about 30. Keep in mind you're looking at the GPS screen. I could do this all day. Extremely economical fuel burn speeds are under 3,500 RPM. And the fact that we can still run 30 and over and stay under that 3,500 RPM range is significantly awesome. Right here. Boat's running great. We had a lot of rain today. Boat was fully detailed. That's why it's dirty from us crawling in and out. So now we know quite a few things. We know what the top speed is. We know the boat doesn't hit, miss, spit, sputter, pop, fall on its face. We know all of our gauges are working well. We know how to use it for water sports. We know how to find our comfortable cruise speed. When we take it back out of the water, you always want to take your plug out, shut your batteries off, take anything wet out of the boat, let it all air dry in here, and that's really it. So now, this boat's awesome. We're gonna go put it back on the trailer and take you with us. Whee! steering's so smooth. Steering's so smooth in this. Must be the awesome wheel. Oh, I forgot to do the hardcore turn. I totally forgot that. But we're almost back. Hold on, kids. So let's do it hard so we can see what not to do. Oh, yeah. Grabs right to the water. Yeah, this thing's awesome. Oh, look at that tight turning radius. Perfect. That's awesome. Didn't even lose our speed. Very impressive. But people are probably mad because we're doing this close to the dock. Sorry. I had to show you though. It's part of it. It's part of being a boater. Now we're going to put it back on the trailer. Always remember, putting it on the trailer, people that think it's hard, get the trailer too far in the water. Your boat's going to float up here on top of the water. If you put the trailer way too far in, the only way to get it on right is by the grace of God. So you want to get, you know, a 30-year trailer out of the water and just drive it right on. And that's it. Well, we're going to finish up this video with some sweet drone footage. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't, and we'll see you on the water.
good old